terrific episode of Chasing Liberty with Jake. Joined with me here tonight is my co-host, Mr. Jess Heisel. How you doing tonight, Jess?
Dag, I'm good. You got another co-host tonight.
We do have another co-host here tonight, a very special guest, Secretary of State candidate, Mr. Neil Harmon, my right-hand man with the LPWI. Welcome, Neil. How are we doing this evening?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent, Neil. We are working through a little technical issues here, but we'll work through them. Internet's a little slow all the way around, but we'll figure it out. We're having a good time no matter what. So, Neil, if you can, give us a little lowdown on your candidacy and on yourself as Secretary of State, and you being the next Secretary of State for the state of Wisconsin, and how you're going to get there.
Uh-oh. It's a connection issue. Hey, Neil, you got an update on your campaign, buddy?
Sorry, you cut out there, Jake.
No, you're good. Do you have
currently, am I good? Okay. Currently, I'm running all over the state. Kind of have a week off here, not doing too much, but we've been doing a lot of parades, a lot of different private events, seeing a lot of people across the state, a lot of excitement, which is great. They're looking at me as the non-establishment Republican/Democrat, which is another good feat to have. Have a lot of people that normally vote Democrat, Republican, and saying, I don't care about the other people that are on the ticket. I'm going to be voting for you when it comes to the general. It's very enlightening, and it's great to meet all these people, all these new people, and hopefully we can bring them into LPWI someday too. That'd be great. But yeah, been doing a lot of work, been really busy. The next couple weeks, I got a lot of things going on, so it's going to be very, very interesting. Got a lot of talk coming up too at different college campuses in September and October. So I'm looking forward to being out there campaign trail as far as talking to younger voters too.
So
that is the one thing that I have seen is the more and more people I talk to, the more and more people are just sick and tired of the two major parties. They really are. And everyone is hungry and thirsty for a change. And our message is change. It's changed it back to the way things used to be and the way the country was founded. But hey, it works. It's made my beard a little grayer with this campaign, but that's all right. Gives me some character.
well, I see you didn't lose any hair on your head. You're still fine.
Actually, I did. I lost it all.
Hey, I was looking around for information on Neil. So I see a lot of stuff that you've done, interviews and some other stuff out there. Do you have like a Facebook page, or is there a website that people can go to, or where
Harmon, the number 4wi.com is it gets you to my Facebook page. We're still working on the website as far as setting up for like donations and things. Right now, we hit a little snag with that, but eventually we're gonna get that off and rolling probably within the next couple of weeks.
Excellent. Jake, you have a website, don't you?
Perfect.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you can. We do, most certainly. You can get more information about my campaign at www.jakeliberty2022.com. And currently, we've got lots of fun stuff happening with the campaign. We are regularly and steadily calling up Mr. Mike Gallagher for a debate. So we are working with, I was actually endorsed by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers 2051. And they're actively working to help set up a debate between Mr. Mike Gallagher and myself, my challenger. So hopefully we can get that set up at the end of September, and hopefully Mr. Gallagher actually shows up and we can get a nice little debate. It'll be a good time. Let the people choose. You got to let the people hear. That's what's important.
Good luck, man. I can see he's going to try to dupe, which is bullshit. Like, why can't he just go out there and talk to somebody? Why can't he debate somebody? But he's going to hide from it. It drives me crazy. I hope he does. I truly do. Truly do. That's gonna be
Should
awesome.
we lose Neil? Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yeah. So are you guys trying to set that up?
And definitely, folks. It's the end of September. We've got some tentative dates set up yet. We're still working to coordinate that out and put it together. And obviously, we're going to see if he actually shows up or if he's interested. That's okay if he's not. That'll give me a time with the entire crowd to say my thing instead. So, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I do feel that it would not be in his best political interest to actually show up.
I know, right?
But and think about this. Think about this. The whole platform, my entire platform, is liberty and justice for all. How do you debate that without sounding like a tyrant?
You can't.
It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Did we lose Neil?
We did. Yeah, I think he's doing the old-fashioned restart.
Oh,
So hopefully he comes back. But if you start looking at
yeah, probably.
if you
I
start
can definitely tell you this.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
If you start looking at their voting records, when you have liberty and justice for all and start to bring it back towards the people, they lose, right? Because they are party line voting. They don't care about the people. So it's easy to pick through and say, you're not voting for veterans, you're not voting for farmers, you're not voting for that. That's the easy part. The problem is that people still see that they still see this other stuff, and they still want to try to do that. Neil, how are you, buddy? You got us?
It's the voting
Yeah,
out of fear. That's the.
I'm switching to my phone, so now it seems to be working a lot better. So
There we go. Excellent.
Yeah.
Welcome back, buddy. Welcome back.
yep, sorry, I need a 5-minute break from you guys.
Can't blame you.
He needed to go get an extra drink just to come back and deal with our craziness.
Hey, what was your
No,
what was your website?
feel free.
Neil,
Sorry,
really
what was
quick,
that?
Neil, go ahead.
what was your website? One more time.
It's Harmon, the number 4wi.com.
Gotcha.
HARMON.
All right, sorry. I'm bringing it up.
So, Neil, give us a little rundown of what you're planning to do when you're the first Libertarian Secretary of State here for the state of Wisconsin.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is audit the department and see what money we're wasting in the department. That's number one key point. My Republican challenger wants to modernize, which just tells me they want to spend more money on the department. And the Democrat just doesn't even care anymore. Second thing is just transparency. I think that Secretary of State should actually put out like a weekly or a monthly newsletter as far as what they're actually doing in the office. I think that's one thing that I want to get out there is be transparent as possible with the position, because there's a lot of people that don't even know what the Secretary of State does. I mean, I've had to do more research on it too, thinking it was just, a rubber stamp job, but there's a little bit more to it. The third thing is I think a lot of Republicans are calling for getting the WEC back under the Secretary of State too, the Wisconsin Elections Commission. And I think that I want to cut it down to a 4 board instead of a 6-person board. And I also want them elected. And I want the Secretary of State to be like the tie-breaking vote if it ends up being like a 2-2 vote. So those are the 3 main points that I'm running on. Obviously, I don't want to expand it any more than it actually is. But with how the WEC is run now, I think that this is going to give it a little more oversight, that they're actually following the laws that are on the books.
Thank you. I would love to see the WEC.
Excellent. I like it.
Yeah. Hey, since you actually asked that question, what does the Secretary
Accountability.
Yeah. What?
Secretary of State's basically the bookkeeper of all the laws that are passed and by the legislature and signed by the governor. But they also do a lot of work. They're with a panel with, I believe, the Attorney General and the Treasurer, and they deal with funds for public education. which I was not aware of. So they have they're sitting on a bunch of land and a whole lot of money and doing nothing with it. So I would definitely be diving into that as far as my audit doing with that, either giving it back to the people or selling some of this land that we're holding that's supposed to be used for educational use. And we're not, like I said, there's a lot of land out there that is just not being used for its purpose.
That's interesting because I know there's
No shit.
there's a forest over here in our district that is just sitting outside of town, and it's been there for years. Every once in a while, they'll go down there and they'll walk through a forest and plant some trees and do some stuff, but they barely use it. Barely use it. And it's just
And that is that
I
forest
remember we
for
had a
public
school forest
education.
too when we were growing up.
say again, Neil.
Well, is that forest for public education?
Yeah, yep. It's owned by the
Oh.
district and stuff. So Jake, sorry. Good.
Yeah, we had a school forest too when I was back in school, but you would take one field trip to it once a year for your entire tenure as you were a student. So we visited it one time in the 12 years that I was in school. That's not a good usage of a piece of parcel, that's for certain. Not saying that we should develop it into homes or anything like that, but I mean, there's definitely more of opportunities. Maybe we could grow food on there for the actual school with students, just throwing darts at the wall. But government waste. Government knows how to waste money better than any organization I have ever seen on planet Earth. Spend, spend, spend. For some reason, spending money happens to be the resolve that we see from both Republicans and Democrats, and it has gotten us into a very, very large mess. To include the brand spanking new, I believe, as of today, the Inflation Reduction Act, which reduces inflation by zero. Awesome job. Well done by everybody. Spending more money that we don't have. Good job.
Actually, I don't think it's zero, Jake. I think it actually is going to increase inflation. So it's not zero.
From the okay, it's increasing it. I was trying to give them a little bit of a benefit of it all, but historically, when you spend money that you don't have, it does increase inflation, which is what this bill does, and it's just out of control. And to watch Joe Manchin fold and get millions of dollars spent for his pet projects is very indicative of how Congress actually works. It's not about what's actually good for the people. It's about wheeling and dealing and backdoor deals. This is what we see. This is what the problems are. And this is exactly why libertarians run for office, to stand in the way. A libertarian vote is a vote of self-defense. Remember that. We're the ones standing in the way of the corruption and avoiding the corruption to continue to grow. We want to actually give you the power because you are the power. That's what we run for. So, now that we are on Facebook Live here, feel free to drop any questions that you have in the comments, and we will certainly answer them. Any questions for myself or for Neil, we are here for that. We'll also be here next week as well.
I'm going to share the screen and pick your guys' brain here for a second. As libertarians, you have the chair of the Libertarian Party and the vice chair of the Libertarian Party. And here's your Inflation Reduction Act, right? So this is a fancy name for, so you've got energy and climate up here. So this is where they're going through, and so they couldn't pass their, Build Back Better or whatever. They're going to fold all their energy that they wanted to do into here. So you got your tax cuts for your EV vehicles and everything else. When did we have to start shoving billions of dollars into this stuff? What do you guys think about tax credits for EVs?
I think subsidies for anything is a complete waste of time because government always puts their resources in the wrong thing. I mean, you're talking about vehicles now that we're digging up more rare earth than ever to try and get batteries for these things that aren't even recyclable. they're actually going to do more environmental damage in the long run than a gas-run vehicle. Again, I think government gets involved in this stuff. It always goes backwards. It never does what they say it's going to do. They just pump more and more money at it and hope it sticks to the wall. But anything that's run government-wide usually fails. Now, I'm going to go back. There was one thing that was corrected finally in the bill as far as Medicare now can negotiate drug prices, which they should have been doing all along. And I didn't understand why the government, who has the biggest power in the world, would not negotiate drug prices for senior citizens to lower. But that is in this bill, and that is a positive I'll give them in this, the only positive that I've seen in this bill so far.
And the downside to that is it is only for like 10 drugs, and it doesn't come into effect until like 2026. So it's barely scratching the surface to the drugs. Fortunately, is it a positive? Yeah, I can see it as a positive, but it's not even remotely close to what should be. And when it comes to tax credits on the EV vehicles, I'm getting lots of feedback on my end.
Yeah, we're getting it from you.
When it comes to tax credits on the EV vehicles, even with a tax credit on a brand spanking new EV vehicle, the people at the lower end of the economic spectrum still aren't going to be able to afford it, even with a tax credit. So it's really just a tax credit for the wealthy.
What's going on over there? Let's try this. There we go. Cut Neil off for a second. I think he's making popcorn over there.
I like it. Yeah, sounds like someone was making popcorn.
So then you get into the health savings too. There's a repeal Trump era drug rebate rule, which I didn't even know what that was. Neil, it sounds kind of poppy over there. There you go. He'll fix it. I didn't even know what that was, and so I had to Google it. And this is back from 2019, where yesterday the Trump administration released a proposal which eliminates rebates for pharmaceutical companies to pharmacy benefit managers in the Medicare. So this was a good savings for people. And I don't understand this yet. And I really got to get into this healthcare thing. But if the Trump administration did this, they're going to start counting that as a money revenue into their stream. So if that was already in place, why are they using that as revenue to pay for this? So this top portion up here, energy, climate, policy, healthcare, this is how much they were looking to pay for it. And then it gets into what they're going to make out of it, total savings and revenue. And this comes out of the repeal. Why are they using Trump stuff? Why can't they think of their own stuff? I don't know. Like Neil was saying too, they did do the cap.
It's all just a mess. A 15% corporate minimum tax. That corporate minimum tax, that's going to be pushed onto consumers like every tax is for any business. Period.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that we have this many college-educated individuals that have been elected that do not understand this. Okay, when you sit and you figure out a business plan, okay, especially if say you're in like an automotive shop, all right, you need to figure out how much you are going to charge per hour in order to be successful, in order to be profitable. So you go through and you actually list out, okay, all of your expenses. Your labor expenses, your electricity, your water, your tools, your labor, I think I said labor, your taxes, everything, all of your business expenses, what it's going to cost you to do business. Okay. Then you divide that by the number of hours that you're actually going to be open, that you're actually going to be working. Okay, so all of your expenses, to include your tax, is actually covered in the hourly rate that you are charging your customers, so that your taxes and your profit margins are already factored in to that hourly rate. That's how that works. Every single business does this. They don't come at the end of the year and figure out, okay, I have $10,000 left over. Now I'm going to pay taxes out of that $10,000. No, your tax gets factored in as a business expense at the beginning, and that gets charged to the customers. Now, if you are charging that 15% minimum tax or corporate tax, look how that snowballs. Maybe it's a corporation that is manufacturing it, that sells it to another corporation that gets taxed again. It continues to snowball. Now you're looking at even much higher prices. That's exactly what drives inflation, is that kind of crap right there. The IRS tax enforcement funding, $124 billion. Oh God, don't get me started on the 87,000 new tax agents. Hold on. Let's talk about this IRS tax funding here. $124 billion.
Go for it.
Okay. This really pushes my buttons. This pushes my buttons a lot. Okay. First and foremost, they are now tracking every transaction over $600. Even PayPal. Okay. I got a notice from PayPal. I have to actually turn in all of my tax information. Any transaction over $600 across PayPal, I have to get a 1099 and pay taxes on that. Yeah. I got the email from PayPal. So they're tracking all this. And now here's what they're going to do. They're not going to send anybody to your house. They're going to go through and they're going to run a simple audit. They're going to see that you have X amount of transactions going through your bank account. And they're going to send you a tax bill at the end of the tax season saying, you know what, you weren't quite right. You still owe us $400. Okay. Are you going to get yourself a tax attorney for $400? Nope. You're just going to pay it just to get them out of your life. So if they do that to a couple million Americans, they're going to drop an awful lot in tax revenue because no one's going to stand up and actually fight that. They're just going to pay the federal government their $400 or even $200 or whatever it is just to get them off their back. It's a lot easier to steal $100 from 1 million people than it is to steal $1 million from one person. And this is the methodology that's going to be used, and this is going to be the new IRS. Plus weaponized. Plus they've got in their budget to buy hollow points. Not quite sure what they're going to be doing with that, but
they removed that from their Twitter feed. So
they did. Yes.
They did. Yeah, they recanted on it. So question. So I want to buy a snowmobile or something. So I want to borrow $700 from Jake. You said, here, Jeff, you're $700. Go buy yourself a snowmobile. I want to pay you back. So when I pay you back via PayPal or Venmo or anything else, now you're going to have to pay taxes on the money that you just loaned to me.
Yep. Any transaction that goes through anything that's over $600, your banks are tracking it, and as well as PayPal, anything that's electronic, all of it.
So in the budget, they had $45 billion for these new 87,000 employees, right? Cool. So for
124 billion.
Was it 124? Okay. So if you had
124 billion.
So 87,000. Okay. So should we use? I don't want to use $100,000. Let's use $200,000, right? So multiply that by $200,000. That easily covers fringe and benefits. That gives you 17.4 billion. So what do you need an extra 100 billion for 87,000 employees? And that's at $200,000 salary.
It's a good question.
It's for the guns they have to buy.
It's for the guns. Hey,
he's got a valid point.
See here, I did this earlier. I want to say the IRS, so they're hiring 87,000. I want to say the IRS currently, how many employees does the IRS currently employ? Take a guess on how many employees the current IRS has. Now they're hiring 87,000.
Don't they have roughly about 80,000 right now?
You almost nailed it, buddy. 74,454. They're doubling their work.
Excellent. Well, yeah, they've got lots of audits to do. Of course they do.
Now, granted, they're still working on last year's taxes. I get it. Oh my god.
They're just weaponizing it.
They are. Absolutely. Especially when you're
Using it as another tool to Joe. It's nothing about getting rich people or anything like that. It's just about getting the regular taxpayer who can't afford a lawyer to dole out more money for them to put their pet projects together. Plain and simple.
Yep. And now think about this. What happened? Think about what we could do if we invested 124 billion into finding all the missing indigenous girls that have been kidnapped into the sex trade.
Yes. There's a comment that just came in from your Mohican. The salt
Yep.
media, federal. Yep.
That's another thing. Every single time. So I want everybody to understand. Every single time you hear the Democrats say tax the wealthy, tax the wealthy. Where's that popcorn coming from?
It's Neil's crappy microphone.
It's got to be Neil's microphone.
Oh,
We lost them again.
he gets intimidated when we say that.
Oh.
He's like, "Oh, I gotta get out of here."
No, it's just making me hungry. I haven't eaten supper yet. But yes, the salt laws. So here's what ends up happening. One of the blows my mind. So every single time you hear the Democrats talking about we need to tax the wealthy, they're simultaneously passing salt laws, which is state and local tax laws. So what they're doing is they're actually making sure that your state and local taxes are deducted off of your federal taxes, so you're not paying all of it. You're only still paying it to the state and local tax. So basically, when they say tax the wealthy, that whole tax the wealthy goes right out the window, and the wealthy still don't pay taxes because they deduct their state and local taxes off of their federal taxes and still pay nothing. Okay? We all need to understand our legislators are bought and paid for by wealthy corporations. Okay? The tax code is put in place and written to protect said individuals and said corporations. So no matter what they try to pass to tax the wealthy isn't going to touch the wealthy, because that's where the money is coming for to help fund these campaigns. It's like they're burning their own purse. They're not going to do it. It looks good on paper. It sounds good in theory, but at the end of the day, little guys like you and me are the ones that pay the bill every single time.
It's until there's a big change, buddy. I mean, look at the tax.
How could they not?
44,000 pages.
Yeah.
There's loopholes after loopholes. There's loopholes for loopholes. So they're just going to lawyer up.
Yeah.
And there's no way the IRS is going to be able to freaking touch it, because they wrote the damn laws in the first place from lobbying for so many years. So they got the loopholes. So if you really think 87,000 people is going to hit that,
and then when you toss, and then when you toss in the fact that you've got organizations like H&R Block and Hewlett Packard and TurboTax that lobby Congress to make sure it stays complicated so that they can continue to grow their business, guess what? It's all just one big mess, and we the people keep paying for it over and over and over again.
looks good on paper.
That's not just with taxes.
Theory.
Now you couple that in with the inflation, times are getting tough. Think about this. What's left of the American dream for this next generation? Okay, when they're getting out of school or even in school, trying to buy their first vehicle or trying to buy their first home, and they're stuck working at McDonald's because their college degree that they just got is absolutely worthless, despite the fact they were told that the only way to be successful is to go to college. They're swimming in debt. They can't afford a car. What is left of the American dream?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. They need new agents to go after the looters and sex traffic. They don't want to go to jail to get their cut.
Oh, no wiser words have been spoken. And that's the thing. So I saw a great article I saw a spectacular article that the FBI actually did something good. They caught like 82 sex traffickers. And along with rescuing, I think it was 83 children. I'm like, well,
pretty recent, right?
Why are we not investing more in that? That was recently, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
why are we not doing that?
and they know where it is.
Oh,
Neil's online. He's hitting it up this
I,
way. Um,
are you
that
coming
was,
back?
I think that was God, was that over in Minneapolis? Was that where that was? Because
I'm not sure where it was.
there's that good, not good, sex trafficking that goes from Milwaukee up kind of by your neck of the woods, maybe in the Appleton area, and then cuts over by even through the Dells and back over to Minneapolis. Yeah,
It's
everybody
crazy the
knows about it.
networking that goes into that.
Everybody knows about it, but nobody's fixing it. So,
It's probably because there's some high individuals that are involved in it.
well, how many
Follow the
people?
money.
How many people have went to jail from the Epstein Island? Zero.
Nothing.
No.
I actually just had a nice article. I had a quote in from human.com. Liza Blue wrote a nice article and quoted of the Libertarian Party is the only one that's really actively trying to fight and stand in the way of sex trafficking. I understand, my internet's usually garbage every night as well. For some reason, I'm working pretty good tonight, so I'm gonna go buy a lottery ticket tomorrow. Hopefully, this keeps on going.
This is the best it's ever been.
This is literally the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
Hold on. Had to knock on wood there so we didn't get cut out.
Right. Oh, computers. I was listening to that Pfizer whistleblower podcast.
Yeah.
The lady was talking about she lost like 3 computers during her whole, because she had to wait like a year before she could say anything out in public. So all the stuff she was trying to fight in the lawsuits behind the scenes during that time, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff going on, but she lost 3 computers in that. Tell me how
they took her computers?
no viruses and other stuff that just wiped them out. Interesting. Yeah. The podcast was the Union of the let me look it up here. It was amazing show. It was like the first hour. It was really interesting, and then there was kind of some babble after that. I'll find it here in a second. Union. I know. I'm so close. You have to listen to this podcast if you haven't already. Union of the Unwanted. It's episode number 53, the Pfizer whistleblower. Listen about the first hour where she was telling some of the stuff she had to go through. It's very, very eye-opening. I mean, you hear about this stuff.
Well, that's the thing. That a lot of these issues are so complex. It takes years and years and years to be able to root it out. And usually it costs millions and millions of taxpayer dollars just to do the investigation. I mean, go back to Russiagate. How much should we spending and looking into whether there was Russian interference with the election? Now we're running into just the state of Wisconsin. How many do we spend over $1 million with Gableman investigating the election fraud here in the state of Wisconsin to supposedly find nothing now? What happens? If our elected officials are corrupt just enough to continue to keep their buddies in these investigations just to be able to fuel taxpayer dollars to the investigators because they're friends? Okay, this is a big, huge political industry. Okay, even just the money that is spent on campaigning. I get emails daily about services to help out the campaign, either through texting, emailing, flyers, print this, all of it. Okay, the amount of money this has turned into when we have money infiltrated this deeply into our politics, clearly it's going to sway the minds of politicians, whether it's with the campaigning or whether it's in their elected office. Which is why we need farmers in there, because obviously no one who gets into farming to become independently wealthy. Trust me on that one. Okay, it's a shitload of work for a little bit of money. It shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately it is.
Yeah.
So
you were talking about how deep it goes. Look at Flint, Michigan, right? We know about Flint, Michigan. It was just absolutely a crap show. So
Yep.
the two engineering firms that were on trial for that, now they had a mistrial. So everything is out. So all that stuff that they did, and they had a mistrial. How deep does it go?
Yeah. Well, just the stuff, the domestic terrorist attack or threat on Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. Come to find out, when that was said and done, that was the FBI pushing and driving that whole thing in. That was another Ruby Ridge.
So that was a
Same
sting
thing.
operation.
Yeah, the FBI. That was all the FBI pushing this group of individuals and getting them high and the whole 9 yards.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, it was a whole nother set of Ruby Ridge setup where the FBI was trying to not set people up, but trying to convince people and continue to push people. This is not. This whole system is broken. The whole entire thing. That's why we have to start repealing these institutions. We have to start taking the power away from these people and putting it back in the hands of the American citizen. This is our blood, sweat, and tears that is funding this. This is our dollar, okay? When I did my intro speech at the state convention this year, I talked a little bit about time, okay? You can steal my stuff. I'll get more. You can steal my money. I'll make more money. But time is absolutely irreplaceable. Once it is gone, it is gone. When you go to work and you're working for somebody else, that is time away from your family. And that time away from your family is meant to raise the funds to help support your family. This isn't just from a guy's point. This is from a husband's wife. This is gender neutral statements here. But the point being is you are taking time away from your family in order to support your family, and the government robs you of that under the pretense of helping others and helping grow society, when in turn they simply waste it on big government programs and big government spending that only helps the friends that they have in Congress or bigger corporations. Has to stop. It really, really does. Yeah, Neil says it right. Welcome to socialism. It is. This is where we are at. And I've had some deep conversations with socialists before, because I'm a socialist. That's great. That's crazy, but that's great. He goes, well, our system of capitalism is broken. We don't have a capitalistic society. We don't have a capitalistic system. We have corporate oligarchy underneath the guise of capitalism. Corporate oligarchy is where you have these major crony capitalism is what we like to call it in the Libertarian Party, is where you have major corporations that buy our legislatures. Those legislatures pass laws that protect those said organizations. Those said legislators passes the tax code that helps protect the wealth of those said organizations. And then you rinse and repeat until we have very, very few people that hold 90% of the wealth in the entire country, and everybody else gets to feed off the bottom. Yeah. And that's where we're at.
Yeah. So then you get a follow-on here. Yeah. So then he comes back.
Yeah.
I know. I'm switching back and forth here.
All right. Perfect. How can the FBI be so bad at some things and some good at other? Oh yeah, they caught 83. I think it was 83 children and 82 sex traffickers or 82 pedophiles. That's a fart in the wind compared to how many there are actually out there. So, did they catch some? Yeah. Was it a good job? They are far, far from doing a good job. How many? What's the number at as far as the missing Indigenous women? What was that number, Mr. Google?
In Wisconsin?
Sure. Or nationally.
I was pretty amazed by it. Missing, murdered, and just women, helping fight. Here, let's do this so that way you can read what I'm reading. So this is from the on the DOJ, but there is more about it, because there's actually a website up there from the Menominee tribe, and the lady up there in the Menominee tribe is the one that actually started this right here in Wisconsin. Let me boot you out of here. I'm just going to find her website because that's a lot better. She does a lot better job at it.
I'd like to speak with her.
I got her name written down somewhere. Let's see if I can connect you. She was absolutely amazing. Very smart, very in tune with actually what is actually happening. MMIW Task Force right here in Wisconsin. It's a Facebook page. You can get on there. I will find out. I'm on it.
Groovy.
All right, Neil Harmon.
All I know is it's a lot. I just know it's a lot, and we can do much better with that. It's so I don't think I can say that the FBI did a good job with that. Am I glad that they caught him? Absolutely. But that's barely scratching the surface.
So Neil Harmon comes back with why going off the gold standard helped destroy the family unit. Few parents teach children the values and morals of the American dream. Now I've seen that more.
I believe we just had the anniversary, the 50-year anniversary of the United States of America being the gold standard being suspended. Now, here's the question I've got. The gold standard was just suspended. Can we unsuspend that? Is that how simple it is? No, it's a genuine question. Is it that simple that we just can end the suspension?
No, absolutely not. There's too much that goes behind it because you've got so much that's tied to that you would have, because it was gone in the 70s, right? When you took it away in the 70s. I mean, there's a whole look at the oil. Oil is all purchased off the American dollar, which doesn't mean anything, right? Because there's no gold backing it. But that's used as a currency for all that stuff. So if you bring gold back in the picture, like Russia is trying to do, that's going to be the power. Russia sees it. I mean, you were absolutely right by saying bring the gold back. That's the smartest thing you could do. But we don't have enough. We're too far in debt. We've how many trillions of dollars? Yeah, 31, and that's not counting.
So we certainly don't have. So what you're saying is we do not have $31 trillion in gold.
Not for the debt. And that doesn't count the 100 and whatever trillion in indirects that we still owe in pension and future, salaries, things like that. We don't have it. So bringing the gold back, I love it, but it's not there. I don't know if there's enough in the world. Russia's smart about doing it. We're doing it.
We gotta get them guys out on the Discovery Channel, them gold diggers in the was it the Bering Sea gold? They gotta start working some overtime. They gotta get them gold reserves filled back up.
Right. More than 4 out of 5 missing, or more than 4 out of 5 Indigenous women have experienced violence. Here's some interesting ones because the DOJ website, let me show my screen. DOJ website only shows 160, which I know is not the case. But this is from, in fact, the lady that's on here is the lady from the Menominee tribe up in northern Wisconsin. She's absolutely awesome.
I think wasn't there a movie about that too?
Could be. More than 4 out of 5 Indigenous women have experienced violence. 84.3%. It's insane. And if you get into some of the sex trafficking, like in Milwaukee, some of it's in there too. I mean, it's just sad. Their land is still, the government's still going over there and just trying to take some of their land up there.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go out last Saturday to the powwow on the Mohican Stockbridge Reservation. You want to talk about an experience? Wow, that was something. It really, really was. They got to honor the veterans, and part of the tradition there was there was a ceremony, and we got to witness the ceremony, which was gave me goosebumps. But then after the ceremony is done, the community can go out and shake the hands and actually thank the veterans for their service and their service to the country and their service to their community. And then you can actually go and march behind them. And I got to do that. That was such an incredible honor. There's those things that happen in your life that you'll never ever forget. And those things that stick with you until the day that you die, and that was one of them. So it was an incredible weekend. That was a very special moment for me. Campaign or not, that was awesome. Yeah. That was an incredible experience to be a part of, and I do got to thank the Mohican Libertarian who was in the chats there. It was pretty cool to see him out there getting honored himself. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was something. Another awesome experience this weekend. We went to the Seymour Hamburger Days parade, and obviously we've got a great sound system on top of the car, and we are letting the crowd know that it's time to boot Mike Gallagher out of office and send him down the road. And coincidentally, the Republican Party decided to line up directly behind us.
Oh, score.
Holding giant Mike Gallagher signs as we're over the PA saying it's time to kick Mike out.
Yeah.
We had standing ovations and a whole 9 yards. People are cheering, actually reaching out to actually get our literature, which was awesome. We handed out over 1,000 pieces of literature for my campaign, for Neil's campaign, and for the Fox Valley affiliate. But to see how many people are willing to literally cheering to kick Mike Gallagher out of office was quite humbling. It really was.
Everybody's tired. Everybody's goddamn tired of these people.
They are.
Oh, wait, not that one. I clicked on the wrong one. You're Mohican Libertarian. We're glad to have you, buddy.
I can't wait to go back next year. It was awesome.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I was up there talking to Guy Ryder, a great guy, very knowledgeable, they were talking about how when Ron Johnson came up and, his team got there before he did. And, they were talking, the team was listening, and they're like, holy crap, this is really going to be beneficial. And then when Ron Johnson walked in, they're like, it all just felt hot. It was just disgusting. Yeah.
Well, it's the thing. The politicians want to show. No one wants to actually be there for the people.
Yeah.
No one wants to listen. There's a lot of times that I don't speak. I just shut my mouth and listen to people vent to me about their frustrations with the government. And I can cut in and I can tell them I have solutions. But right now, there's a lot of people really pissed off to the point that they just want to vent on someone who's hoping to try to make some changes. So I actually get that a lot. I just shut my mouth and let them listen. And then eventually they get enough steam out, I can get some words in edgewise and kind of tell them a libertarian solution. And a lot of times, we as libertarians, we don't have a solution. Okay, we're running for a federal office. The federal government's not supposed to have solutions to all this stuff. Okay, I've said it before and I'll say it again. When you decentralize the government and you start putting this stuff back into the plates of your local level authorities and your local level governments, that's when we can start actually tapping into the true creativity and the ingenuity of those within the United States of America. Okay, the fact that we have gone through all these college educated folks, especially the ones in Washington D.C., that we have dialed all solutions down to a red solution or a blue solution, to me is the most dumbfounding concept that I've run into in this whole political game here. Okay, how about instead of having two solutions, we have 330 million solutions? Okay, bring this back down local. Let local communities solve some of this stuff. If we need bigger projects where we need a bigger voice coming up, we have elected governments and we can work from the bottom up versus the top down. Okay. Right now, with this top-down structure that we have in the United States of America, it's smashed with corruption. And the only way to get rid of the corruption is to bring the government closer to the people.
Now, you were talking about solutions. And one of the things that I noticed when I originally started playing around in all this bullcrap is there are already thousands of organizations all across Wisconsin that have solutions. You don't have to have a solution for anything because there's an organization already out there that does it. farming, Wisconsin
Mhm.
Farmers Union, right? Dairy industry. There's 10 at least, probably top 4 are really powerful because they got thousands of people already behind them. They have organizations that have answers. You need good quality people with a backbone that's going to do the right thing for the people. And that's what I like, yeah.
That's it.
That and your beard.
That's all. That is literally it. There are private organizations, there are charities, there are nonprofit organizations that are doing astronomical amounts of legwork for their communities. Okay. Even when the government doesn't have, even on my farm here, okay, we're training veterans on how to grow produce and live sustainably. Government's not going to do that. The government's the one that hurt them. The government's not even willing to help put them back together.
Yeah.
But our communities will step up when there is a time in need. What we have seen over and over and over again. Okay. When we see our neighbors in trouble, we help. That's what we do. That's what makes us unique about being Americans. So we don't need a government solution. We have us. We the people. That's what this country was founded on. Liberty. Okay. There's a difference that people don't know. The difference between freedom and liberty. And liberty actually stands for freedom from the government. That's why it says in our founding documents, liberty and justice for all. It's not listed as freedom. Liberty, freedom from the government. We the people can solve the problems that this country faces. We don't need Washington, D.C. They can just piss off.
Everybody already has the answers. Seriously, you're right. We don't need them. They're making it worse. They are making it so much worse. And I got to use my beat button.
You forgot to use the beat button? Oh.
No, I did.
We will get this ironed out. We'll get the beat button ironed up by November.
There you go. It'll be November 9th. I'll have that down.
November 9th.
Yeah. All right. You said something earlier when you were talking to people because they're pissed off, and you actually have to listen for a while. And Jake, man, I saw that shit too. People would come up. I had the booth at the fairs, and they come up and they're like, "What are you going to do? Why are you going to do this? This is what's happening." And they would go off about the other person or this particular group or whatever. And they would, yeah, you're right. They talk for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you try to get a word in edgewise. And you got people coming up left and right and wanting to get information and talk some more. But they're all angry. Everybody is pissed off. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. If you're a person, you are pissed off. The only people that aren't pissed off are the Republican and Democrats that are elected or your elite. Other than that, you're upset.
Yeah.
If you keep continuing down the road of Republican and Democrat, it will gain you nothing but more gray hair, more hair loss, and just a bad mental health. You have to change your ways, and you have to go in that other direction. It will be, if you keep voting in that direction, you are ruining this country. Doesn't matter what side. I don't freaking care. Republicans or Democrats, you are ruining it if you continue down that road. That's why I'm playing with you fine people, and I'm an independent. I don't even care. I just want somebody else. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. So sorry, but you have. Okay.
Oh, that's what it really is.
Sorry, that was my rant. You have.
Oh, no.
You have a lot coming up here, buddy. What the heck do you got coming up? I'm gonna dig up this Jacob Vandenbos website. What is this all about? What is this thing? What is this thing we speak of here?
Jake Liberty 2022. No, and that's what this whole campaign has been. 18, it's going to be 24 months of people just unloading their frustrations on you.
Yeah.
And you just, it's those frustrations of what keeps you going, though, because who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
Few people want to step up and run for office, and it's a lot of work. It's time that's away from your family. And then you got to have a whole crew. I am so fortunate to have the level of volunteers that I have on this team. And that's time that they're taking away from their families as well. Okay, this is, we're really hoping that this campaign is exactly what the next history books are going to be written. Which I hope they don't videotape most of our campaign meetings because, yeah.
I want to do this.
freedom, liberty, justice. What do they mean to you? Are these merely words lost to the pages of history book, destined for nothing more than to be catchy slogans politicians throw around to get elected? Or is it something so much more than that? Does it feel like justice for our neighbors, friends, and family members to be incarcerated, treated inhumanely, or even have their life taken? Is this what justice is supposed to look like? Is our individual liberty still respected, upheld, and represented? It's time we set politics aside and focus on principles that have always mattered. Now is the time. We are the ones. I'm Jacob Vanaplatz, and I'm not just asking you to vote for me for Congress in 2022. I'm asking you to vote for yourselves and for the power every one of us possesses to unleash the greatest potential.
I like that, buddy.
That's what it is.
It is. Absolutely.
I like it.
Good job. Hey, we got some events coming
We
up.
can bring this country back around. We most certainly can, but we cannot continue to vote for Republicans and Democrats. When Republicans and Democrats battle, every single time, not some of the time, every single time that Republicans and Democrats battle, we the people lose. Okay, in order for think about this. Okay, so in order for Republicans and Democrats to actually accomplish anything, they first have to have power. They have to be the party in power. Otherwise, it's really difficult and almost impossible to actually push your agenda. I don't have an agenda. I have liberty on my mind. That's it. I want to give you the wealth and prosperity that you worked for and for you to keep that. It's not a radical idea for you to keep the money that you worked hard for. Period. Okay? But when you vote Republican or Democrat, you are actually voting to place a set of values across the entirety of the country when most of that country doesn't believe in those values. The Libertarian Party is here to actually defend self-governance so that everybody's values are held equally. That's how this country was founded. That is what is important. Republicans and Democrats will continue to tear this country apart for their fight for power in order to push their priorities and their principles onto the country when that is not simply how the country was founded. It was not how it was designed. And it is that polarization that is going to continue to divide the country until we start getting other options onto the table.
And as long as that happens, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get very much ugly. And I don't want to see that. All right, buddy.
Oh, I'm excited.
You got some events coming up here. So what is today? We got the 17th of August. You got a Brown County Fair coming up on the 20th. That's Saturday. You got maybe a Door County Brewing and a Marinette County Fair coming up even the weekend after that. You got some stuff happening. So
yeah, we'll be floating around some of the fairs, and once we start rolling into September, the last week of August and the first week of September, we're going to be out at the Waupaca County Fair and the Shawano County Fair. So I'll be spending a significant amount of time out at those. So if you are from the Waupaca County or Shawano County, please stop on out and see me. I do want to hear your frustrations. Lay it all on me. I can take it. I got broad shoulders, and that's what I'm here for, truly. Because we're not going to be able to fix this. I'm not going to be able to do it by myself. We need all the input that we can. We need all the help that we can get. And you can help my campaign in several different ways, either with your time, your treasure, or your talent. So if you've got experience with cutting commercials and making videos, we can use that talent. If you want to just volunteer to help do literature drops, please email us at through the website at www.jakeliberty2022.com and you get on our volunteer list. We have several of them lined up. We can also need donations. Donations. That's the best way that we can reach the masses. The more donations we have, the more TV and radio ads that we can buy and we can place. But time, treasure, talent. All of that is as absolutely as critically important as the other. So please join us as we try to save our country.
Looks like right up here at the top screen, get involved and filling this out. Oh, look at that. That seems easy. 4 blocks. You can do that on your cell phone.
Oh, yeah. Too simple. Too simple.
Alrighty, Jake.
We do have some really exciting stuff coming up that we're going to be ironing out. But thank you all for joining us here tonight. We are unfortunately at the end of our hour. Otherwise we could definitely go for 2. Always a great time. Definitely enjoy the comments. Thank you for all joining us here. Want some more information on the Libertarian Party of the state of Wisconsin? You can find that at www.lpwi.org. And again, you can find information on my campaign at www.jakeliberty2022.com. Thank you, Jess, for joining us here tonight. Thank you, Neil, for signing on and telling us a little bit about your campaign. Hopefully next week we can get some of the internet and technical issues ironed out. But thank you for joining us, and well done in your campaign. Watching and following what you do, we're all damn proud of you. So thank you for your effort and helping grow the message of liberty here in the state of Wisconsin. It's definitely showing forth all of your effort. And thank you all for joining us here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you back here next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m., where we talk a little bit more about chasing liberty with Jake. Thank you all, and have a great night.